The No Sports Central, be giving you guys our Week 12 college football bowl projections for the 2023 college football season. We are headed down the stretch. There's only 2 weeks remaining of this regular season. So with that, we'll be talking about where things stand here today as we look forward to the final 2 weeks of action. So with that, let's get started. Looking at the Myrtle Beach Bowl, we got Troy and Toledo, New Orleans Bowl, Liberty, and James Madison. And the same story applies for this week for James Madison and Jacksonville State. Both teams are technically ineligible, but because we probably won't have enough 6-6 teams, that does put both teams into bowl games this year. Problem is for James Madison, though, at least they're getting to a bowl game, but there's a pretty good chance they're going to end up as our top group of 5 team this season. So, I mean, that's a New Year's 6 bid. That's pretty much going out the window for James Madison. Personally, I think that they are definitely deserving. I know the transition and everything, but I mean, they are far and away, in my opinion, the best group of 5 team. Tulane's maybe second, but even Tulane I've got a lot of uncertainty about. So that's tough for James Madison, but at least they're still probably going to get into a bowl game, more than likely the New Orleans Bowl. Cure Bowl, we got Arkansas State and UCF. UCF got them projected for 6. They're back into the picture this week after their big win over Oklahoma State. Then you got New Mexico Bowl, Wyoming, New Mexico State, LA Bowl, UCLA, and UNLV. Got UCLA projected for 7. Independence Bowl, Iowa State and Northwestern. Who would have thought Northwestern at this point in the season would likely be a bowl team? But here we are. They have played well down the stretch. Got them projected for 6. Iowa State for the same, and Northwestern flexing into the Pac-12's position there for the Independence Bowl. Bahamas Bowl, we got Jacksonville State and Ohio, Frisco Bowl, SMU and Texas State, Boca Raton Bowl, Coastal Carolina and San Jose State, Gasparilla Bowl, Virginia Tech, and Marshall got Virginia Tech for 6. Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Tech and Georgia State got Georgia Tech for 6 as well. And they definitely need to win this week if they want any chance of getting to bowl season, considering they got Georgia in their last week of the regular season. Camellia Bowl, we got App State and Western Kentucky. Armed Forces Bowl, Texas Tech. Huge win over Kansas this past week. Got them projected for 6. Air Force on the other side. Idaho Potato Bowl, Bowling Green and Boise State. 68 Ventures Bowl, UTSA and Georgia Southern. Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska and USC. Got Nebraska projected for 6 and USC for 8, even though that's a team that has fallen apart down the stretch of this season. Hawaii Bowl, Utah State and Rice. Quick Lane Bowl, Rutgers got them projected for 6 as well. In the Northern Illinois First Responder Bowl, Louisiana and Colorado State. Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Illinois got them projected for 6. In fact, in the Big Ten this week, I've got 6 teams into bowl games with 6-6 records. That is a outcome that definitely might not happen. There's a good chance we'll see a lot of 5-7 teams as well. But I do have most teams that are kind of on the bubble right now getting into bowl season. And then West Virginia on the other side got them projected for 7. Military Bowl, Syracuse and Memphis got Syracuse for 6. And then Duke's Mayo Bowl, Auburn and NC State. NC State playing pretty well right now. I've got them projected for 8. Auburn on the other side for 7. All-Day Bowl, Clemson and Oregon State. This one makes sense for the storyline. DJ Uiagalelei for Oregon State, obviously playing at Clemson the past few years. Him facing his former team would make for a pretty good storyline, and this would be an incredible matchup as well. Oregon State got them projected for 9. I mean, as of right now, I do think Oregon State's got a pretty good chance to beat Washington this week, given their first loss. But obviously nothing is guaranteed at this point with the Huskies playing as well as they are, especially against good teams. But got them projected for 9 and Clemson for 8. And then your Texas Bowl, Kentucky and Kansas State. Got Kentucky for 6, and then Kansas State on the other side for 9. Fenway Bowl, Boston College and South Florida got Boston College for 7. Pinstripe Bowl, Minnesota and Miami. Kind of an interesting matchup there if it were to happen. Minnesota got them projected for 6, and then Miami on the other side for 8. And then Pop-Tarts Bowl, Notre Dame. They've been in this position for several weeks. I think it just makes sense for them. I think that they end up winning out here, and they take on Oklahoma, team that I got projected for 10. So it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl, but it's definitely a good matchup there for what to happen. With obviously the Sooners losing to Oklahoma State a couple of weeks ago, that does put OU out of the Big 12 picture, so that would keep them more than likely into the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State would be in the Alamo Bowl. Got them taking on Utah. Oklahoma State got them projected for 9, and losing to Texas right now in the Big 12 championship game. Utah on the other side got them for 8. And then your Gator Bowl, Tennessee and Maryland got Tennessee for 8, Maryland for 7. Sun Bowl, Arizona and Duke. This is a matchup between Two of your more surprise teams this season. Arizona got them projected for 8. I don't think many expected them to be an 8-win team this season, but here we are, and they're taking on, they could take on Duke in the Sun Bowl. Duke got them projected for 8 as well. Liberty Bowl, South Carolina barely got them into bowl season with 6. Taking on Kansas, the team I got projected for 8. In the Music City Bowl, Texas A&M and Wisconsin. Jimbo Fisher's out for the Aggies, but I do think they finished out with 7 wins, taking on a Wisconsin team with 6. And then Arizona Bowl, Fresno State, and Miami, Ohio. Fresno State, I had them in the New Year's 6 picture last week, which is insane. Then they just lose to San Jose State. So really tough loss for them. That takes them out of the New Year's 6 picture for good, I would say, but still keeps them in the Arizona Bowl, taking on Miami, Ohio. Citrus Bowl, we got Iowa and Ole Miss. Hawks got them projected for 9, and to win the West, I think that Iowa in the end they're the best team in the Big Ten West. I mean, their offense is horrible, but their defense is good enough to win their way to Indianapolis at least. And I think they find a way to the Citrus Bowl as well. This would be a tough matchup for the Hawks defense, though, taking on a strong Ole Miss offense. But either way, this would be a great matchup. I think Ole Miss and Missouri are kind of tied for New Year's 6 position right now, but it's either going to be Mizzou or Ole Miss. This week I've got Mizzou in there, but I do think that once we get to December, it really could be a coin toss. Relay Quest Bowl, North Carolina and LSU. North Carolina, I do think they're 3rd place in the ACC. Got them projected for 9. LSU got them projected for 9 as well. Cotton Bowl, Washington and Alabama. Same as last week. I do think that the Huskies lose somewhere down the stretch. I mean, they got Oregon State and then Washington State to finish out the season. There's a chance they lose to Oregon State this week with it being on the road and Oregon State playing as well as they do at home. They're a strong enough team. It's gonna be tough for them to beat Oregon State. If they can beat them, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Huskies won their way to the college football playoff. But either way, I do think they lose in the Pac-12 title game to Oregon. I just don't know if they can beat the Ducks twice. That would probably put them in the Cotton Bowl, taking on an Alabama team that I do have at 11-2. I do think the Crimson Tide lose to Georgia in the SEC title game, but Crimson Tide are still a team not to sleep on. Orange Bowl, Louisville and Ohio State. Got Ohio State for 11, Louisville for 10. I do think we see a Florida State-Louisville matchup in the ACC title game. Louisville loses it, sending them to the Orange Bowl to take it on Ohio State. Peach Bowl, Penn State and Texas. Got Texas as your Big 12 champion, winning out, getting it to 12-1. But the problem is, I just don't know that if you compare, say, a 12-1 Oregon Pac-12 champion and a Texas 12-1 Big 12 champion, I just don't know that Texas gets the edge at this point. I feel like Oregon has played better down the stretch, and if they can win out, and even if Washington can, I would probably take Washington over Texas just because the Pac-12 is a stronger conference than the Big 12, and I mean, down the stretch, both teams playing as well as they have. It just would make sense for Texas to probably be the first one out. So I do have them in the Peach Bowl taking on Penn State, which it would be a better matchup for them to take on Ohio State. But the Orange Bowl, Ohio State would be sent there probably because they'd be 2nd place in the Big Ten and Penn State is 3rd. But either way, still a great matchup here if it were to happen. Then your Fiesta Bowl, Mizzou. Who would have thought they would be in a New Year's 6 position at this point? But I do think that they win out, and they're playing really well right now. They lost to Georgia a couple of weeks ago and then dominant last week against a good Tennessee team. So Mizzou got them here to land on the other side. They're a decent team. I still have a bit of uncertainty about them, mainly because they haven't been very dominant this season. But I do think this one makes sense, and the group of 5 bid is still very much in the air. I feel like 3 or 4 teams could get it. In this case, I do have Tulane against Mizzou. And then for your college football playoff semifinals, same as last week, I think. We got Michigan and Florida State for your 2-3 matchup in the Rose Bowl. Michigan now got them projected to be undefeated. Same with Florida State. So 2 13-0 teams here, and conference champions of their respective conferences. Florida State's got a pretty good road to the 3 seed, I think. Michigan on the other side. They got Ohio State here in a couple of weeks, which is going to be a huge game. I do think they beat Ohio State right now, but it's going to be tough, and that's definitely a matchup I could go back and forth on. At this point, honestly, Michigan or Ohio State should be your number 2 seed. And then Sugar Bowl, we got Georgia and Oregon. I do think Georgia finds a way to the number 1 if they can beat Alabama in the SEC title game. I think that Georgia just will be considered the best team in the country. But the thing is, though, as well, the College Football Playoff Committee, we'll see how the updated rankings look this week. But Ohio State has been number 1 the past couple of weeks. So there's a potential the way that we find either Michigan or Ohio State the winner of the Big Ten there at the number 1 seeds. That's definitely up for debate there as well. But I do think a Pac-12 team finds a way into the 4 position unless things go south in the next couple of weeks. So I think Oregon, a 12-1 Pac-12 title winner, gets into the number 4 position to take on the number 1. In this case, I got Georgia. But with that, let me know your thoughts and comments below on these projections. I appreciate you guys watching as always, and stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll catch you on the next one.